No, this is the real deal here. You should be able to see me in there, red, orange, and yellow guy. So this is a FLIR Pro 1. This is what firemen use to actually help save people. So this isn't not a crazy phone app, so to speak. What are we looking for in here? What do you think, Lida?
Like,
if I'm warm, what are the ghosts going to be? Cold. We're looking for cold spots, literal cold spots. We're looking for blue and black to move around on their own. The cool thing about the video that you're going to get back is there's going to be a blue dot bouncing around the screen, giving you the coldest spot in the frame at that moment. So you're going to be in control of this. So you're going to be filming the whole night. Yeah, how cool is that, right? So the blue dot's going to help direct your eye on where to look for those cold spots when you guys get your video back. We're going to do a few starts and stops, only because as great as the hardware is, the software is horrible. So with that, I will kind of give you the cue of when to hit that red square. But when you're holding it, you want to make sure the camera's on your left-hand side and it stays horizontal. You don't want to flip it. Otherwise, we're going to be watching it like this. So that one goes to you. All right. Let's grab the spirit boxes. Let's see what this is going to break down. Spirit boxes. We're going to be using several different types of spirit boxes tonight. These are communication devices to talking to the dead. So if you're fans of the TV shows, basically this is the white noise. And then the ghost can basically speak through the white noise by using the FM frequencies that are going through. However, we're going to be using this a little bit differently, because if somebody listens to white noise for 2 hours, plus all of the history I'm going to give you, Charlotte's going to fall asleep. I can guarantee it. That's the reason why we slow it down, is it's going to allow the radio chatter to actually slip through. If you can make out anything that the radio chatter is saying, a commercial, a DJ, or a song lyric, I want to know what they're saying. It's a 50-50 shot. We can tie it to the location, a person in history we're discussing, or even something going on with one of you. It happens all the time. They're going to be using an earbud, so that way you're going to be the only one to hear it in real time. And then I'm going to be writing down, of course, whatever you hear that's going to be relevant. But we are going to be, this one is already recording, so make sure it's on the right speed here. It seems like it's going super fast. There we go. But tomorrow morning I'm going to go through this recording and give you about 15 to 20 more markers of things that I find when I spot check it. I don't want earbuds back. You get to keep those because your earwax is gross. So, twist eye, you'll have to undo that, but your volume button is right here. It's a wheel at the very top, so you'll have to control it based on whatever your comfort level is of actually listening in on it.
yeah.
You're welcome. Kristen, I like to use 2 of these.
Okay.
Yours, however, is not going to record. So, if I give you guys 4 hours of white noise and a little bit of radio chatter and coming in between, you guys are going to shoot me and try to hunt me down. So I'm going to be relying on you on whatever you hear in real time to be able to write it down. Now the cool thing is that you're only going to be using one earbud, which means you can share it with another person in the event Lida wants to listen in too. So again, here, these are yours.
Yep.
Volume button is right here. It's the wheel, and it's already turned all the way down. So find that wheel, and that way you guys can use it that way. Let's see. Tony, you look like a man that needs some proof. You've been very quiet.
How do you
There's
know?
I read faces really well,
There's something
so
He's just
like a
there.
really
Don't let him
good-
I'm not a psychic.
right there.
This is a millimeter. So basically this is going to measure electromagnetic fields.
That's
So
cool.
the top number is going to give us those numbers. So parking meters, buildings, wiring, those kind of things. We're going to use that to debunk some things and hopefully get some really high spikes of where they're not supposed to be any spikes. So that anything above 2.5, I want to know what's going on. If Miss Lida finds anything on her camera over there, we have ambient temperature down here at the bottom. So if she finds a cold spot, we can find it with the little probe right here at the top. The last thing that it has is it has a motion sensor built into it. So if anything gets close to the antenna that I just pulled out, it's going to go off. I'm not touching it. Now I'm touching it. So again, as things go by it, hopefully we're going to be able to play with those colors and the motion a little bit as we kind of go throughout the night. I'm going to turn off the motion sensor for now. Just get used to how those numbers kind of move around, and we'll debunk a lot of things for you. Again, anything above 2.5 on the big set of numbers.
No, actually.
He's checking the temperature. It's a good thing I didn't give you a psychrometer to measure humidity. Like, nobody wants to know that number. I used to carry one of those around with me.
I used to tabulate those, so I know all about.
Yeah. This
red
device
bulbs, there you go.
is going to. This is another type of spirit box. This is going to replace what we normally call an obelisk. If you guys are fans of the TV shows, this is going to give us words from time to time in the center of the screen. So the cool thing about that is it's going to generate a whole long list. Now, last night they actually had 64 terms. I'm going to clear them out. That's a little bit lighter than average, and we're going to start your list off fresh. The cool thing about that list is it's going to have timestamps on it. 80% of what comes out of this app is going to be garbage. There are 36,000 terms and phrases in here, Jane. So, again, 80% of it is going to be absolute garbage, but the other 5 to 20% is going to be so specific to our location, we're going to count it as evidence, and hopefully it links up with something else that's going on with another spirit box. This one's going to go to you. The only thing you need to worry about is when I come to you is when I want to see the list. You don't need to show me every word that pops up, otherwise we're going to be out here all night long. So I will come to you when I want to see that list. Dave, you get to carry the bag. No.
Sure.
Let's see. I think I want to go with the other spirit box.
No pressure.
Dave, your spirit box is probably my most accurate because it's going to flip through the FM and AM radio stations simultaneously and attempt to take out the white noise that Charlotte and Kristen are listening to in between the radio stations. So you're only going to hear about 10 to 12 things come out of this thing through the entire night. That's about the average. About 75% of those are going to be accurate to our location versus the 50-50 shot we're taking with the other spirit boxes. So the only thing you need to worry about with this guy is how to hold it and where the mute button is. So blinky lights are at the top. On the right-hand side is a mute button. I already turned it on so I can kind of get us started. I'll let you know when it's going to be safe to unmute it. So again, you're only going to hear about 10 to 12 things out of this total for the entire night. So you just never know when they're going to actually pop up. I'm going to love that guy. We just actually added that to the kit. Pretty cool stuff. All right. So you got words coming up already?
No, I'm just seeing this figures up.
It still says small? Okay. That was what we actually started with. That's not going to be on your list.
Okay.
So, because I erased that from the list.
See it?
It's the only button on the right-hand side.
Yep.
All right, so there's a reason why we start here, of course. So, Big John's behind me. I know it's closed, but that's only because it's Monday. They're not open on Mondays. But this place used to be owned by a football player. His name was Big John Kennedy. He played for the 1947 New York Giants. Now, whenever I'm giving you the history of a location, I'm always going to slow down on specific keywords. Obviously, keywords here are going to be 47, New York, and Giants. Obviously, for the spirit boxes that are out here, because we're using 4 tonight, which is quite a bit out of the group of 6. Because I have 2 more in my bag. But with that said, here's what goes on here and why the place is haunted. John used to sit at the back of the bar and would tell the bartender if the cadets coming over from the Citadel if they were old enough to drink or not. One night, 2 guys come in. They're not old enough to drink. So he has the bartender throw them out. They leave, they come back the next night pretty angry, and they try to steal the cash register from the front of the bar. John sees what's going on, and he slams down his beer and goes over and just starts pounding these guys into the floor. Now, a couple of gunshots go off. John gets grazed in the neck. The bullet lands behind him in the wall. John's been the only one that's been shot, by the way. He gets up, and he goes back to the bar and tells the bartender to get him another beer, get the 2 guys on the floor, and ambulance. So the irony of the story is if I tell you a building is haunted, you automatically think that somebody died here or it's a tragic death of some sort. What's haunting this place is the bullet hole. It's allegedly still here. Even if this renovation of Big John's filled it in, Big John's blood is still inside this building. So people that sit in the front tend to get a little queasy, nauseous, or headache. And it's also the only space where I get any EMF, like the device that Tony's using over here. So kind of keep that in mind. This is kind of a heated warning because fingers crossed we're dealing with paranormal activity tonight and I don't know how it's going to affect anyone. So if anybody feels any of those symptoms, I need to know immediately. Like it's a big deal. Headache, nausea, dizziness. Just kind of keep those things in mind. We will always blame the humidity and the heat first. Again, I'm not here to make anything up and call everything paranormal. I'm not a TV show. So, have you guys been taking other history tours at all? Nothing? Wow. Not yet. All right, so you're going to hear about a big earthquake in 1886 because every tour talks about it. This building is allegedly where the first death occurred from that earthquake. It's an anomaly for us because we're supposed to have hurricanes, not earthquakes, on the East Coast. So, a piece of the mantle you see in the middle of the building also wraps around the front. A piece of that broke off, hit somebody in the back of the head and killed them, and they say you can see his ghost in the middle of East Bay Street in the middle of the night. Now, I don't have any proof of that story. It's just a great segue so nobody's thinking about getting sick along the tour, even though I just brought it back up again. All right, time to go. Is everybody ready to go something?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's do this. You're going to be super quiet. We got to get you talking for sure.
You
All
about to
right,
go?
we're going to follow
Yeah.
London.
Walk.
London knows where she's going.
And hold out your arm here. All right, guys, if I'm getting you.
You're good.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, now I'm going to do your...
Yeah. Did you already get yourself?
I did my back and my legs, not my front.
I thought you did. Because I know you did mom. So I thought you
Mom did. yourself.
When do I start getting the button?
Yeah, get that prep. By the way, Russell from the other night was not on that list.
He wasn't?
No. All right, everybody, welcome to your first stop. So we're not going to spend a whole lot of time here. It's just so we can talk more about your devices. You can ask quick questions, and then we're going to deep dive into much deeper history than this space. This is the Big Red Barn. This is where we keep some of the horses for your carriage rides. You can't hear us, which is why we use earbuds for your spirit boxes and why we keep yours on mute. Okay, again, don't kick that metal wall and scare the bejesus out of all of us. So again, keep those on mute. So the history here is really simple, just so I can use an example to explain more about your devices. This is the same red barn that held horses that used to deliver milk and eggs to the residents of Charleston. So obviously keywords here are going to be delivery, milk, eggs, color red, and anything relatable to a stable. Spirit boxes. Let's talk about those first, because that's what most of you are using. This is not a Ouija board, and this is definitely not television. Everybody wants to ask the same question whenever they get a communication device. What do you think that question is?
Is that a ghost?
I got a ghost?
No, I said, is that a ghost?
Oh, is that a ghost? But that's
Spirit
actually it's still a
ghost.
good example. Normally everybody wants to ask, is somebody here? So if Charlotte hears no, that means that somebody's here. So we are not going to be asking yes and no questions all night long. Even if you're a skeptic, you're still here to have some fun and want to see if this is actually legit. So I would normally tell people using a spirit box for the first time, ask a question you already know the answer to. If somebody's here, tell me what color the Big Red Barn is. Obviously, we're going to be looking and listening for the color red. But most of you are using song lyrics and DJs to be able to convey messages back to us. That's the whole point of your spirit boxes. The color red might not be available to them, but the words fire truck, blood, and heart are all specifically red. I would actually take that as an acceptable answer. Like, not a, oh my God, check this out, but it is definitely acceptable. I will tell you that most of the night, throughout the night, I'm going to say we need a verifier on that one. That's kind of vague, or that's a good clue. Let's wait for something else to verify what's going on. For example, let's say Jane's word list has the word art on it. That doesn't mean anything here by itself. But then, Kristen, you hear the number 40. Together, Art Faircloth was jersey number 40 on Big John's team. You guys see where we're going to be piecing these clues together to see if things are actually matching up or not? Otherwise, it will be considered just a coincidence, and that's just the way it's going to be. So, I think the only other thing I need to worry about right now is Miss Lyda. So, Lyda, you're going to worry about two things for us. Because you're so short, this is part of the reason why you have that camera. People don't like their cars to be filmed, so make sure you're not focused on anybody's vehicle, okay?
Yeah.
The other thing you're going to try to do is keep one of us in view at all times, because we're going to be the warmest thing out here. It's going to give an array of color on your screen, and that way it's going to be much easier to find cold spots when they actually appear.
Okay.
Second thing you're going to try to do, keep the sky out. The reason why, the blue dot that's helping us find the cold spot automatically goes to the sky because the sky doesn't have a hard surface to it.
Right.
So again, do your best. Some spaces that's going to be impossible, just so you know. And among your groups, by the way, keep them within your parties of 3. If you want to intermingle your devices, feel free. So again, if she wants to try something else, or you guys want to try something else, by all means, flip-flop it up. As long as the devices stay within your family, I'm good. Everything's been sanitized and clean. I'm going to have to work with Tony at the next base on that motion sensor, because that's the first place we're going to use it. Are there any other questions about your devices so far? Okay. Well, silence is compliance. Let's go learn some much deeper history than football players and ponies. Let's get away from this spot.
I like ponies though. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was going to say the same exact thing.
Is that now or when we're in the spot?
When we're in the spot.
Of course it does. I wouldn't use it if you didn't.
Keeping it on the ground now.
That's not about
Just make sure you keep the thing on the left, right?
Yeah, you gotta keep it on the left. You gotta hold it straight.
When we get to the spot, that's all that matters. So you can edit it out, and we're not going to get all the... Sorry,
Right.
recording.
Right. Right.
Shoot, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So weird. I'm wearing shorts on there too.
You're in shorts and everything?
Yeah. Well, not shorts. Like, it just feels weird. I'm not comfortable. Because it's sky. It's just stays in. It's not hot. It's the tight shorts. So. Yeah.
Oh, those things?
Well, I mean, the longer ones.
Oh, all right.
Like this. Not like shorts.
All right. Welcome to to your first space, a parking lot. You made it. Congratulations. So, Coach, I'm taking you to weird spaces that the other ghost tours won't go to. So first off, for you 4 spirit boxes, I am not going to be giving you questions here like what color is George Washington's white horse, like what we did over there with the red barn. I'm going to withhold information on purpose so that way everybody here has a genuine experience. Is that fair?
Yep.
All right, so what the heck is this place? This is the Eliza and Charles Pinckney Mansion site. Their mansion actually sat in the front of this space, facing East Bay Street. Eliza's garden was lined up with Five Church Restaurant over there, basically where their white cars parked, and came all the way across where we're standing. And then the servant and slave quarters for the home were in the back of the space. So, who the heck were these people? Eliza and Charles had a son named Charles. They had a nephew named Charles. You guys see why we look for secondary verifiers now? Because that's 3 different Charles. We need to know which one we're speaking to. However, the son and the nephew, signers of the Constitution for South Carolina. It's a pretty big deal for us, but I hate politics more than everybody here, including London. So, we're going to move on. Eliza has a much cooler story. Eliza married Charles at a young age according to today's standards, not the colonial times that she came from. So if you're going to ask her how old she was when she got married, it's not going to be numbers like 12 and 14, just so you know. Think of today's standards. However, she married Charles because, well, by the way, when I say young age, I bring that up because her husband, Charles, was over double her age. Like a pretty big, creepy age gap back then, creepy age gap now, just so you kind of have that gist. But anyway, she married Charles because her father over in England thought he was dying. His name was George Lucas, by the way, for you adults that would actually get that joke. Teenagers look at me like, yeah, I don't know. But anyway, her father thought he was dying, and he's trying to bring all of his children home. Well, she didn't think he was dying right away. And by the way, she's over here, and it's 1744. She got married instead. And you don't get married in 1744 for a green card. We're not even a country yet. She did marry Charles out of love, and even after his death, she did remain a widow, to answer that question, because a lot of people like to ask that. But anyway, she was correct. Her father did not die right away. Instead, he starts sending her gifts over from England. One of those gifts happened to be the plant seeds of indigo. You guys have been in town for at least an hour that I know of. You've probably seen the word indigo somewhere. I can guarantee it. We have the words indigo everywhere. Indigo is a plant that makes blue dye that makes our blue jeans blue. Charlotte's the only one wearing it tonight.
Wrong.
Except for London. London has it on as well. And when she got these seeds, she didn't know what to do with them. So she had to learn from her slaves and servants how to keep it cultivated. So it's not always hot here, in case you've never visited here before. And once she had it figured out, she moves it to a full plantation, calls her father and says, the rice plantations are going downhill, we can make a killing with the indigo. And we now have an international businesswoman during colonial times, which is something absolutely unheard of. That's her business, that's the boring stuff. Let's get into the weird stuff, because that's why the rest of you are all here. I'm all about the history. So, the questions that we can kind of go through. I'm actually going to start with yours, Jake. So, with your device, you can ask questions. I'm going to have you focus on Eliza, the second wife, because there is a first wife. Her name was also Eliza. Ironically, both Elizas have a maiden name that starts with the letter L. So let's get you to ask questions about, like, once we spread apart, like about how old they were when they got married and which Eliza we're dealing with by asking her maiden name. Hopefully you get the answers through your spirit box. Let's see. KRISTIN, we're going to go after the children with you. So the kids, I already told you there's one named Charles. There are more. I'm not going to tell you how many. You're going to find out. And then what their names are. Don't poke the bear with this one. There's a tragedy among those children that if we poke the bear, all activity will stop, just so you know, in case things are starting to happen. With your device, I want you to focus on what happened to the mansion. If you get an answer, when did that happen? We're looking for numbers, specific dates, months, whatever you get out of it. So again, we're looking for what happened and when did that happen. Who else has a spirit box? Did I cover all of them?
Nope.
Charlotte. We're going to go after Eliza's death. So, yeah, the fun stuff. You can ask Eliza how old she was when she died, what she died from, where she's buried, and what president was a pallbearer at her funeral. So again, very specific questions. Just focus on her death. And if you guys go rogue with whatever you want to ask, by all means. These are just focal points of things that I normally get the answers to. So, I am going to be working with Tony to show him more about that motion sensor. And have you seen any numbers pop up on that thing at all yet? Nothing. It's been sitting at zeros?
That is a doorknob.
Wow. No pun intended. Dead as a doorknob. Hunting ghosts, everybody. Was it chuckle chuckle? Tony's going to be our comic relief for the night. I hired him to do so. All right. So, London, I want you to work with Jane first to show her how to get to the list, and then kind of how to analyze the list a little bit further, and then start bouncing around as I show Tony more.
Alright.
All right. We're not going to be filming any vehicles. Remember, Lida. So again, nice slow movements out of yours.
Luckily there aren't many cars.
Yeah, there's not many cars in here, so we'll be good to go. All right, let's spread out. Listen to those spirit boxes, crank them up, unmute yours. Let's get working. Let's see what we can find. Tony?
Just click this.
All right, so now just go ahead and start to
Okay.
make sure you keep it level.
Wait, Mom, do I click that? Or is it already recording?
Your cold spot?
No. The button.
Yeah, if you see a cold spot.
No, Mom, the recording button. Is it already on?
No, you gotta hit it.
Not me.
Mm-hmm.
Go walk around.
Please come right in front of me.
Know what you're doing?
Yeah. Nothing yet, really.
Try to keep it angled up so the floor is not in it.
Yeah.
Anything?
Dad heard a few things though. I heard someone saying.
What?
I heard someone saying in Dad's. He said, I want to hear about the mansion. And then someone was like, hey. And then they tried to keep talking. Someone tried to talk on Dad's. And then you heard like women singing. Like in the
I'm not
background.
making any contact with Charles.
Do you want to try to say something? Say something? Like, I'm trying to keep cars out of this. It's really hard because they're like all around us. I know, but London said don't like on the ground because they wouldn't be on the ground. They would mostly be up. Oh wait, here's a good way. Okay, so then you can also try to ask.
Huh?
Socks.
Is Charles here? I'm looking to make contact with Charles.
We would like to talk to you. Can you say something for us? Can you say something for us?
Let's see. How's your spirit box going?
I hear a lot of white noise and randomness.
And no matter how silly you might think it might be, if you
Yeah.
hear drop it like it's hot, like I want to know you heard drop it like it's hot. Because the word hot might actually mean something here.
Got it.
You see where I'm going with that?
Yeah. Okay.
Do you have an earbud in too? Are you helping? Nah, not yet.
Yeah.
I'm too tiny.
It's okay. You can spread those apart. They're cheap earbuds.
Yeah.
So, and it's still sweeping. I just want to make sure you're still.
Got it. I'm looking to talk to Charles. Charles, are you with us?
I'm going to stop and I would like something to come right in front of me, please. There's nothing in here. I would go back. I'm going back. Mom, I got something over there. I got something over there. There was something over there. I saw like a black thing on the ground with like blue around it, and then I turned back to the camera. So I had it like that, and then I turned back, and then it was right there. See it? That cold spot, and then see the black? Now it's gone. Something's there. Something's right there. 42. It's right in front of the 42, right here. Ask if it's the one.
I said, I'm going to walk with Lighter right now. And he goes, if you ask me, I would.
That's what it said? That's what it said.
I'm going to walk over here again with Lida. Can you say something else? Can you speak to me again? What are the names of your children?
child. He doesn't have children.
He's the child.
Yes.
Charles is the
Charles is Charles is a child, so he won't have children because he's like. He didn't say how old, but he says that he's a child. It's only showing it over there.
Yeah.
That's the only. No, it's right by you. It's following you. It keeps switching from you to the ground right there. Can you move the spot? No, it's not. Yeah, it's moving. I'm going back over here. It's all over here. Yeah. We got a lot over there.
Always try to keep somebody in the frame, he said, remember? And you're not keeping it level.
I know.
You have to keep it
No,
level.
it's on the ground.
Which means like this.
Dad, I know, it's all on the
Like
ground.
this.
I saw like that, see that down there?
Yep.
It was over there too, but it's only
So the
in
ground is
certain
actually in
spots.
this space, has
Right.
a lot of mud in it, which is going to be a lot colder than
Okay.
the gravel on top.
Yeah.
So that's why you're getting some cold spots on the ground. But that's a good catch. Definitely get some great movement on there.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
I got really scared at that. I'm like, what does he want with me?
She thought she saw something over there. So. That's it, though. Got nothing else, yeah.
It's weird that you have a full phrase like that.
Switch?
Yeah.
You want to switch? Or can I hear?
What?
Can I hear
Yeah, you can hear it.
you should.
Yeah, just pull those apart.
Yeah.
They're like 50-cent earbuds. That's why I don't want them back. I buy them in bulk. Obviously, it's a business
It
expense.
sounds like static and a
Yeah.
lot of radio.
You can hear music too.
Wow, that's one of those.
I heard someone.
It's music.
Ow. I heard woo. I heard that.
That's the radio channel.
Yeah, it scared me though.
Yeah, but you have to get specificness in it. So you have to ask specific questions. Charles, I have Lyda here. She's a child. Would you like to speak with her instead? Would you like to speak with Lyda? Lyda is my daughter. She's a child. She would love for you to say something. Would you love to talk to her right now? Can you say a phrase or a word that Lyda would know that you're here? Should we keep walking?
I would go over there, Mom. 'Cause that's where you heard the last. What he said last place that he talked was over here.
Last. Should we go to the place where Lyda found the spot?
Amazing.
Will you talk to us
But
there?
those are a very rare occasion. Other TV shows are pretty bogus when it comes to that stuff. Do I have some? Yeah. But they're a rare occasion.
Can you talk to me, please?
Can you talk to Lyda right now? This is the spot where you communicated before. Can you say something else? Or Are we standing at the side of your... You hear that? I said hello.
Did?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Thank you for speaking with
You
us.
seem to be present in this side of the house. We're gonna keep walking, okay?
Anything else coming up out of that thing?
Hurdle, hello.
It's only happening over there.
It's right here in the second
That's the
one.
only
It's weird
spot.
because we're only getting any EMF readings from that side.
Weird.
Yeah, I heard a hello.
Okay.
That's
All
pretty
right.
much it, though.
So I'm going to pull everybody over now that
Okay.
everybody's got a really good gist of how to use the devices, and you
Cool.
guys are pretty.
All right.
All right, Dave, come on over. We're gonna get-
He was nice. Charles. He was actually pretty nice.
Guess I would like you to.
It's very good manners.
You heard 40, I heard ready.
You heard ready?
That's it.
But you heard something. It's good. All right, did you figure out how to turn that thing off?
Yeah.
Tony? Perfect. Come on over.
Mute it. I hear.
Yeah, go ahead and mute yours. Lida, you can go ahead and stop your video, so hit the red.
Watch your step. Okay.
What the heck? Mom. There we go. Okay.
All right. Talk to me. What have you guys heard? What have we got? You told me American and baby and gospel music. Put those
Yeah, I
down.
also heard I don't want to talk. Is it?
Yep. Turn it on, switch it up.
Thank you, sir.
All right. You got anything on yours?
Nothing.
Nothing at all. Dave? Okay.
I hate to speculate.
You should.
Maybe Paul, but like maybe.
Okay. I'm gonna put it in there because it's a possibility.
Yeah.
I don't have to write that one down.
Didn't hear it, did you?
I know for a fact that there's a call on it. All right. So where the heck are we and why are we here? Welcome to Lodge Alley. We're definitely going to be using your device in here, Tony, so you might want to pull that out. So when we crossed that last crosswalk coming down East Bay Street, that's where the original Charlestown walls used to be. Charleston used to be called Charlestown. You're standing on one of the very first streets we ever had. So people used to live here, which is why I asked you for names. I have the full list of residents that London's already brought up. That's why we kind of test things. I don't have the whole list memorized. It's not a long list, but I do get the same names very commonly every 6 to 7 weeks. And we're getting very close to that 6 to 7 week loop. The names I normally get are Benjamin and John. So I told you I wasn't going to give you any subliminal messaging, but you guys are the ones that normally tell me that you're hearing Benjamin and John. John is a very common name. Yeah.
There wasn't a Savannah, but there was a Susanna in 1807.
And I know that there's a Paul, for sure. He's at the bottom of the list. Now, the names Benjamin and John, when I tell you John is common, there's 4 different Johns that lived here during that 60-year time span that people lived here. John likes to give us his last name, Johnson. Yes, his full name was John Johnson. So we'll hear Ben, John, and Johnson all in the same evening. And those 2 gentlemen both lived here in 1801. What's significant about that? There's only 2 out of 5 people that lived here in 1801. We just gave you 2 of their names. Every once in a while we get a 3rd name. That name is Jane. Jane also lived down here in 1801. That's 3 out of 5 people, 1801. I have nothing significant about 1801 other than the theory of why that keeps happening. You're standing on Belgian blocks. These bricks have been here since 1739 that we know of. It is speculated that that's how long they've been here. Could be longer, could be a little bit, newer than that. However, these bricks are made of granite. They are not supposed to have an EMF charge to them whatsoever. So, Tony, I'm going to have you place your device on the ground, like literally place it on a brick and see if you get any numbers out of it. Yeah, like go ahead and like set it on the ground, like back to a brick. There you go. Go ahead. And we want to literally place it directly on the ground and see if we get any EMF. Now, the only thing he should be getting out of that is a natural EMF, which is about up to 1.1, and that's measuring milligauss. I am excited about, he did get a 45 milligauss reading back at the Pinky Mansion site, which is pretty significant, by the way. But if he's getting anything above that, like 2.5 range, like I'll be pretty stoked. It's different every single night. As we're getting closer to that 6 to 7 week loop, it's a possibility this should go up higher. Last night we actually got up to about a 5. So, do we have any numbers at all on there? Just a 2?
1.9 to 2.
Okay, yeah, it's probably not going to go any higher than that. You can go ahead and pick it up so you're not bent over staring at it the whole time we're here. But the reason why I think this is happening is these bricks have been here so long, it's a possibility that we're dealing with the stone tape theory. What that means is that, I think he hit the temperature thing too. That's the top button on the right.
Top button on the right.
Got it. The stone tape theory basically states that the bricks have been here for so long, they're hanging on to the consciousness of memories and replaying it through our electronics. That's the whole point of the stone tape theory. Have I proven it yet? No, but I'm damn close to like the same stuff that keeps happening every 6 to 7 weeks. So, before people lived here, the Freemasons had a Masonic lodge here. That's what gives the alley its name, Lodge Alley. We do get terms wrapped around the Freemasons. Obviously the word Mason, Freemason, and the word Illuminati loves to show up on the red spirit boxes with the earbuds that you guys are using. Now, first question is who the hell's talking about the Illuminati on the radio? Why should we be even hearing that term? Second, we're only hearing it while we're in this space. So again, very odd. 6 times last year, 3 times this year so far, all verified. Don't know why we keep hearing the word Illuminati. None of it is disembodied. It has been radio chatter. The disembodied voices that I hear, those are very actually hard to catch. I do analyze every single one that I speculate. So again, I question everything too. I want to know what's going on. Is it just coincidence, or I keep getting more clues around the same location about the same exact things over and over and over again? Now, we are going to go to another alley, but I cannot take you all the way through it. Why? I've been kicked out. Actually, me and London have both been kicked out. So you guys have the blinky lights and the noisemakers and all that stuff, and it is considered residential at the end. So technically I was out of bounds when I actually got caught going down there. We are still going to talk about that particular alley once we get there and hopefully stir up some paranormal activity to be able to get answers through your spirit boxes and kind of see what's going on there. We will hopefully, because we're going to be close enough to that alley through the rest of our evening, things bleed over a little bit. It's not always like, okay, we just got things here, we left here, it stops. When we exit here, we might still get those names that I normally capture because we're getting close. Hello, how are you? But we're going to head up to that next alley, and yes, I will tell you how me and London got booted out of there because that's the fun part of the story, because everybody wants to know. So let's head up to that next alley. As we exit, Miss Lyda, you're the only one with a camera tonight. I want you to stop your camera when we leave the alley, because we're going to be cutting through a neighborhood. We don't want to film somebody's house.
Yeah.
You got it. Okay. Love the fact that she's
It's
super
very
respectful.
hard to hear because it's the
You
opposite
could
ear
stop
that I-
filming when you get to the end of the
Yeah.
hour.
Okay. I heard that, but it's a little. It's still a little hard to hear in my ear, and it's in my other ear, so I can
There you go.
like very rarely hear.
Maybe I should have had the two of you switch.
You're not going to let hear one of them. You try and make out any words you can.
Alright, stop filming.
Full evidence for Dave because he's questioning everything and I love it. So,
It's so hot.
yeah, it's very warm. I was wondering how you were going to do it with them joggers on all night.
Yeah.
Yeah, you definitely want to get that thing cranking in here. So,
duerme.
May I switch with Mom?
That's what you're doing.
Yes. Do you want to switch for a little?
Hmm?
Do you want to switch for a little?
Sure.
All right, Lottie, you got anything coming out of there?
Not yet.
Not yet. There's your camera work going. Looks like your finger might be right over it.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Perfect. That's fine.
I was like, why am I looking at
Why is nothing
you?
happening?
Right? You okay?
Yeah, I'm getting that is.
Oh, you gotta hold it.
Knew I was gonna have to go sometime.
I think we're almost done, to be fair.
An hour left.
It's 10:10. We started early. We said an hour and a half.
Like 30 minutes? 45 minutes?
Lida. Lida. LJ. There's a bathroom right there. Go in the porta potty. Go in the porta potty.
I would try to talk to her because it talks to you more than me.